In this video, I'm going to go over the 9 different input triggers you can find in the enhanced input system. These triggers are essential for activating the input actions. So let's take a look. So I've created an input action asset, and what we're going to go over is the triggers in here, all 9 of these. I've also set it up so that depending on what happens and what gets triggered and when, it'll be printed to the screen so we can see what's happening and when. So let's start with the first one. The down trigger is when I hold the button down, it will go into triggered, but when I released, it's completed. It has a threshold time, so basically this is how long it must wait before it goes into started. So let's give this one a try. So I held the button down, it went from started to triggered. Now when I release the key, it's completed. So started, triggered, completed. The hold trigger will go to ongoing whilst I've got the button held down, and when I reach the hold time threshold, it'll go to trigger, and when I release the key, it will go to completed. And we've got activation threshold down there, which is the same as waiting for this even starts. We also have a one shot, which we'll try as well. So let's come in here. If I press the key down, you see it went to ongoing, and once I hit the threshold, it went to triggered. And now when I release the key, it's completed. If I do it really fast, cancelled because I didn't meet the threshold. Now if we tried this with one shot, it will only trigger once and stop without me even lifting the key. So I press the key down, threshold's met, triggered once, completed, and I haven't took my finger off the key yet. So one shot basically means you must hold it down for the threshold, and once the threshold's met, it's completed. The hold and release trigger, basically, as long as I'm holding the button down, it's ongoing, and when I release, it will be completed. And we also have a threshold here for how long should you hold the button for it to be able to go to trigger. If you held it for less than this time, then it won't go to trigger. We'll probably go to cancelled. And this is our activation threshold, which is how long we must wait for start to kick in. Let's come in here. I'm holding the button down. It went from start, ongoing, and when I release, it's triggered. If I did it really quickly, you see it went to cancelled because I didn't meet the hold time threshold. The press trigger requires me to press the button, but once I've pressed it, it'll go to completed. So holding it will just go to completed. So it only happens once you start. Once it's started, boom, it's completed. And this is the threshold again, which is how long the button must be held before started even kicks in. So come in here, I hold the button down, it went straight to completed. Even if I'm holding the button down, it goes straight to completed. So basically, once it's pressed, boom, it's done. For pulse, it will pulsate. So what that means is, whilst we're holding the key down, the time between pulses is what you'd put here. So interval is 1.0. We've got trigger limit of how many times you can do the trigger. So what's going to happen is you're going to see a load of ongoing, and every so often you'll see a trigger come flying down. That's the pulse. And they're saying how many triggers is basically allowed. At the moment, it's infinite because it's on 0. So let's give this one a try. And I hold the key down. It went from started to ongoing. And when I release, it cancelled. So it started, triggered, then it goes to ongoing, then it keeps on triggering over and over. And when I release the key, it's cancelled. The release trigger requires me to keep holding the button. And down here we have the activation threshold, which is, again, basically how long we've held the button down for before it goes into started. So let's try. So if I hold the button down, it should go to ongoing, and then when I released, it'll be completed. So started, ongoing, so the button's held down, and when I release, triggered, completed. The tap trigger requires me to keep pressing the button over and over, and I must do it within this threshold of time, otherwise it will be cancelled. If I just hold the button, it'll go to cancelled as well. And this is the threshold for how long we must hold the button before start kicks in and all this kicks in. So let's give that one a try. And I press and I hold and it went straight to cancelled. So if I keep pressing, you can see it goes to completed as I'm doing it within the threshold time. But if I just hold, it goes to cancelled. So this one is the combo trigger. And in this one, you can have several buttons that need to be pressed in a specific order for it to register as completed. And whilst it's happening, they're in the state of ongoing. So let's come down here, open this up, and in our combo actions, let's add 2, and we'll use the jump. We'll say when the jump's completed. You notice you can have 2 on here, but I will just want completed. And in the next one, we'll set that to jump again. So it's a double jump. Right, now with that done, click save. And now if I click the normal key that's put on this, nothing happens inside here. If I click the space bar, just the once, it went from started, ongoing, cancelled, because I didn't continue the combo. If I keep pressing, you see cancels. You have to do it really fast. So boom, boom, boom. That's how a combo would work in a game. The chorded action trigger requires another input action to be triggered in order for it to trigger itself. So in here we have chord action. Let's just choose the jump. So if I click the jump and this input action, then this will fire off. So let's try that. And here, if I just press the key, nothing happens. If I hold the key down and press the space bar, it says started, triggered, completed. So both buttons have to be active at the same time, or at least both triggered at the same time. So for the fact that I'm holding the button down, it's triggering, and then I hit the space bar, which is being triggered. So you could use this for having one button that can do 2 different things. If it's held down with another key, like maybe it's a fighting game, and to do a stronger attack, you have to hold both 2 buttons down at the same time.